Today we're going to start the integumentary system. The integument is the largest system of the body. It's 16% of the body weight and 1.5 to 2 meters squared in area. The integument is made of two parts, the cutaneous membrane, the skin, and the accessory structures. Three major skin layers include the outer epidermis, or superficial epithelium, and then the inner dermis, the connective tissues, and that's the cutaneous membrane. The hypodermis is the loose connective tissue. It's below the dermis, and it's the location for hypodermic injections. The accessory structures originate in the dermis. They extend through the epidermis to the skin surface. They include hair, nails, multicellular exocrine glands. Know this image. This image will be necessary for labeling on the test. Know the three cutaneous membranes, epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis, and know the accessory structures. The function of the skin is to protect the underlying tissues and organs, the excretion of salts, water, organic waste, the maintenance of body temperature, the production of melanin, the production of keratin, the synthesis of vitamin D3, the storage of lipids, and the detection of touch, pressure, pain, and temperature. The epidermis, it's an avascular stratified squamous epithelium, and the keratinocytes contain large amounts of keratin, and they're the most abundant cells in the epidermis. Thin skin covers most of the body. It has 4 layers of keratinocytes. The thick skin covers the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. It has 5 layers of keratinocytes. Keratinization is the formation of the layer of dead protective cells filled with keratin. There are 2 types of perspiration: insensible perspiration, and that's the interstitial fluid lost by evaporation through the stratum corneum, and then sensible perspiration. That's the water excreted by the sweat glands. Dehydration can result from damage to the stratum corneum, for example, burns or blisters, insensible perspiration, or from immersion in hypertonic solution. So an example would be seawater, and it would be osmosis. Hydration can result from the immersion in a hypotonic solution. It causes swelling of the epithelial cells, and it's evident usually in the palms and the soles. Skin color is influenced by 2 pigments. Keratin, it's a orange-yellow pigment found in the orange vegetables and can be converted to vitamin A, and then melanin. It's a yellow-brown or black pigment produced by the melanocytes in the stratum bacille. The function of the melanocytes is to produce melanin, and melanin protects skin from sun damage, or UV, ultraviolet radiation. UV radiation can cause DNA mutations that can lead to cancer and wrinkles. Also burns that can lead to cancer or wrinkles. Skin color depends on melanin production, not the number of melanocytes. The capillaries and the skin color. Oxygenated blood is red, and it contributes to skin color. When the blood vessels dilate from heat, the skin reddens. When the blood vessels constrict or the blood flow decreases, the skin pales. Cyanosis is bluish skin tint, and that's caused by a severe reduction in blood flow or oxygenation. When we're ill, it can affect our skin color. These can include jaundice, which is a buildup of bile and produced by the liver. We get a yellow color. A pituitary tumor, that's when we produce excess MSH. Addison disease, a disease of the pituitary gland, which can cause skin darkening. And vitiligo, which is a loss of melanocytes or loss of color. Now, underneath the epidermis is the dermis, and it has 2 components, the outer papillary layer and the deep reticular layer. It also contains the accessory structures. Dermatitis is an inflammation of the papillary layer. It's caused by infection, radiation, mechanical irritation, or chemicals. It can be characterized by itch or pain. Dermal strength and elasticity is due to the presence of two types of fibers. Collagen fibers, they're very strong, they resist stretching, but do bend easily. And then elastic fibers permit stretching, then recoil to their original length. Skin damage can include sagging and wrinkles, and it can be caused by dehydration, age, hormonal changes, UV exposure. Stretch marks, on the other hand, are thickened tissue resulting from excessive stretching of skin. That can be due to pregnancy and weight gain. The hypodermis is also called the subcutaneous layer. It lies below the integument. It stabilizes the skin, and it is the site for subcutaneous injections or using hypodermic needles. The human body is covered with hair except on the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, the lips, and portions of the external genitals. The function of hair is to protect and insulate, also guard the openings, and it's very sensitive to touch. The hair follicle is located deep in the dermis. The erector pili muscle moves the hair, and it causes the hair to stand up and produce goosebumps. The regions of the hair include the hair root, the hair shaft, and here you can see the root, the connective sheath, the erector pili muscle, the sebaceous gland, and the exposed hair shaft. The exocrine glands, sebaceous glands, are oil glands, and sweat glands are watery secretions. The apocrine sweat glands are found in the armpits, around the nipples, and the groin, and they produce the sticky, cloudy secretions, and when it breaks down, it causes body odor. Bacteria eat or use the sweat as a source of food. Other integumentary glands include the mammary glands, and they produce milk, and then the ceruminous glands, and they produce the cerumen, or the earwax. It's meant to protect the eardrum. The control of glands is a part of the autonomic nervous system. It controls the sebaceous glands, the apocrine sweat glands, and it works simultaneously all over the entire body. The nails protect the fingers and toes. They're made of dead cells packed with keratin. Metabolic disorders can change the nail structure. The nail production occurs deep within the dermal fold near the bone called the nail root. The nail structure includes the nail body, the lunula, and if we look at this image, we can see the free edge, the lateral nail fold, the nail body, the lunula, the proximal nail fold. Now, with skin regeneration or tissue regeneration, the first step occurs is where the blood will come and form a scab. We call it scab formation. Next, we have tissue granulation, and that's what we see here, where the migrating epithelial cells begin to have the macrophages and fibroblasts come to play and clean up the area, and we see the granulation tissue. That's called granulation. Then we have scab thinning. After 1 week after the injury, the scab has been undermined by epidermal cells migrating over the meshwork and produced by the fibroblast activity. And phagocytotic activity around the site has almost ended, and the fibrin clot is beginning to break up. And the last step is called scar formation. And at this point, there may be a shallow depression, and that marks the site of the injury, but the fibroblasts in the dermis continue to create scar tissue that will gradually elevate the overlying epidermis. And that completes the repair of the integumentary system. Now, after the scar formation, there'll be a decrease in inflammation. The clot will disintegrate. The fibroblasts strengthen the scar tissue, and sometimes a keloid may form. This is an illustration of a keloid. Now we can compare and contrast the area affected by burns of an adult body versus a child's body. We can see the head of the child is 15%, where the head of the adult is 9%. We can see the trunk of the adult is 36%, but only 32% of the child. we can see that each lower limb is 18% for the adult, 17% for the child. And we can compare the upper limbs, which are the same. Now we can begin to talk about the effects of aging on the integumentary system. Number one, there's epidermal thinning. Number two, we have decreased numbers of dendritic or Langerhans cells. Number three, we have decreased vitamin D3 production. We also have decreased melanocyte activity, and we also have decreased glandular activity in the sweat glands and oil glands. We also have a reduced blood supply. We also have decreased function of the hair follicles, and we also have a reduction of elastic fibers. And the last two, we have a decreased hormone levels and a slower rate of repair. And that completes the integumentary system with the effects of aging on the system.